I decided to go on the Natty or Juice subreddit and read some threads about myself. I have the honor of having 7, 8, 9 of these threads that have been devoted to me at this point. There are some mean comments, nasty comments, a lot of misinformation, a lot of lies, but I think this will be interesting, informative, entertaining, and also educational as well. So we're going to start at the start with the first thread that I received a whopping 5 years ago, roughly 5 years into lifting in 2019. This is when I was posting on Quora, sort of before YouTube. You can see there's a before here when I was probably 17, 18 years old or so, and then an after when I was probably about 30 years old and roughly 84 to 85 kilos. And this is when I was perma-cutting and I was probably around 10-ish% body fat. And the most upvoted comment says 1,000% natural. Who the hell asked this? Guy openly admits he can barely bench press 100 kilos. Maybe when totally shredded, yeah. My PR was above that. Jesus, he has taken a few gym photos with good lighting and with a pump. He is pretty average, to say the least. Now, I don't know about average, but yeah, the good lighting and the pump thing is going to be a reoccurring theme. If you take a picture flexing with the vascularity and the lighting, and when you're shredded, you're going to look way bigger and way more impressive than you actually are. Another comment from Big Chief Tom Tom. I'm not going to blur out the usernames, by the way. These are all public threads, public comments, and if you post something good or bad on the internet publicly, to me that is fair game. He says, as someone who has used a lot of steroids, let me say, he's using gear in the pic on the right, 110% positive. So he's 110% positive, but the other guy said I'm 1,000% natural. So, just in terms of the numbers, this guy is clearly wrong. And this is also a reoccurring theme. Guys who hopped on a bunch of gear, often pretty early, usually when they don't know how to train or diet or do anything properly, they didn't get great results, and now they think anyone with an even halfway decent physique is obviously blasting away like they are.
How about new?
No. Also interesting is that there are now a number of comments that are from the past year or two. One said, bro, forget my previous comments, where I think he had said I was natural. He juices, there's no doubt now. Bro, update, he has 18 plus inch arms now, mi culpa. So he's apologizing because he says that, I guess if you have 18-inch arms, then you're no longer natural. For the record, right now, when bulked, my arms are 18 and 5/8 and 18 flat when bulked. When cut down, it was 17 and a half and 17. Yes, they look bigger than they actually are, but I'm not going to deflate my arm measurements to make myself seem more natural. That's just the actual measurement. They look bigger than they are, and a lot of that is just the muscle bellies, the insertions, and then also when you're leaner, they look bigger than they actually are anyway. 2 years ago, fast forwarding, there are two different threads, one of which has a picture of me sort of turned to the side when pretty bulked up. I think this is 2022. And then another one, I'm doing a seated cable row, again, under that really, really good lighting. And I don't think I'm totally cut down, but I'm sort of between bulking and cutting at this point. Now, one interesting comment here, it says, not lifetime natty, but he definitely doesn't blast and cruise. I don't even know what he's trying to say here. Someone said source, and he said, how about it just being my opinion, seeing as that's all anyone can give when people post here 90% of the time. And this is totally true. Most people, they just see a picture and then they get this sort of emotional response to the picture without actually looking at any kind of information logically. It is an emotional response, and kudos to this guy for actually being honest about that. He didn't say, oh, well, actually, this was my logic. No, he was just saying, hey, this is just my opinion. The issue is that a lot of people here on this forum are super black-pilled, particularly from watching too much Natty or Not content, from people who have low standards. So they, whenever they see even a decently impressive physique, they automatically think that it is juicy. Another comment says, this guy is definitely natural, just look at his fitness journey. He's the one that I actually follow and bought his books. Seems like a great guy. Well, thank you. And yeah, you have to look at the journey. You have to look at the time course that you built the muscle. If I see some 18-year-old corn-fed beast who has as much lean body mass as me. Like, is he a total genetic freak? Maybe. But what? Oh, he's covered in acne and has all these side effects and stuff. And he's 17, 18, 19 years old, and he had this ridiculous transformation. Puberty can do a lot, but I think in most of these cases, when someone built tons of muscle very quickly, gear. But most of the comments seem to say natty. Peak natty, natty king, daddy natty, natty. He's like 20% body fat here. He is painfully natty. Yeah, so it's almost like on this subreddit, being natural is almost at times like an insult, right? Like, oh, you're looking really natty, bro. And this just shows how low a lot of people's standards are, where being natural is somehow just like you're skinny and you can't do anything even remotely impressive. Someone else says his neck probably tries to suffocate him in his sleep equals juice. And I actually replied to this one. I don't reply a lot because it's just not worth wading in. I said, oh, I train it. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, if you train an area, it gets bigger. I don't train it all that much anymore. It's still 17 or so inches. But yeah, back then I was doing a lot of neck flexions, neck extensions. And imagine training an area and having it develop. Amazing. Another guy said, I'm a nerd. Guilty as charged. Another guy said, this dude is natty. He looks ridiculous with a pump. But outside of IG glamour shots, he looks natty as sin. Yeah, so it is very condition dependent. With the lighting, the pump, the angles, everything, especially when you're shredded, you're going to have that definition, that separation, perhaps even vascularity, that a lot of people simply associate with drugs. It's a lot of the conditionings around the actual photo. And guess what? I do this for a living. I know how to take a decent picture. And so, yeah, that is a huge factor that a lot of people don't really even consider. All right, fast forward to 8 months ago. I actually found this interesting because the pictures were from my cut from a long time ago. And so the internet was actually kind of late to the party in this one. One guy said, as humans, we escalate and put people on the pedestal, which is true. I don't like it. This cultist feature we have of certain celebrities, I've been following this guy for a while. Before he was known on social media, I used to read his answers in Quora a lot. Cool. I don't post there much anymore, but I'm glad you found value from them. If Sam Sulek isn't natural, then he isn't. Sam Sulek has an arm size of 19.5 to 20 inches. This guy is about the same or bigger. No, I'm not. I'm 2 inches away from that when shredded or more. So people will just look at a physique and be like, yeah, it's a 20-inch arm. You have no idea until you actually measure. And guess what? You have never actually measured my arms. And someone replied, you're just flat out wrong about the arms. And yeah, it's no matter how much you put out the truth, there are going to be some people who just, they either ignore that or they don't see that. And so in a lot of cases, I've seen statistics, they make shit up on the internet. It's pretty wild.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
And then the OP says, anyone with an 18-inch arm with less than 10% body fat is most likely juicing, period. Educate yourself. Well, those measurements the other guy said were from when I was bulked up. Again, when I was cut, 17.5 and 17. So, yeah, I think an 18-inch arm, when less than 10% body fat, is possible naturally. It is super rare, and I think most people who attain that are probably juicing, but certainly not everyone. By the way, this video is sponsored by Boostcamp. So, tracking your training is absolutely essential. Some people think that a training log is not going to be important. It absolutely is. And if you are not keeping a training log, you, my friend, are messing up. And if you're going to keep one, you might as well use the best, and that is Boostcamp. Plus, you get access to some of the best programs out there. If you're not sure what to do, you don't necessarily want to write your own training plan right now, you can hop on a fixed plan that is going to get you results. So, once again, thank you to Boostcamp for sponsoring this video. Next comment from Tofu Almond Man. I like GVS as much as the next guy, but dude lives in China. He can't outright admit he's on juice. He literally mogs dudes on gear. But I don't know, I still want to believe that he's natty. So there's a few things here. First, I do live in China. I don't know the laws and regulations around juice. Guess why? Because I'm natural. I don't need to know that. However, I would also point out that it is illegal in many countries worldwide. It is still, I think it's a felony in the US. I'm not 100% sure about that. Again, I don't coach people who are on them, so I don't need to know that. But it's certainly illegal in the United States, and yet it doesn't stop people from using, and it also doesn't stop people from often openly talking about it and promoting it on social media, even those who live in the United States. So, does that mean that everyone is natural in the United States? I don't really see the logic there. he literally mogs dudes on gear.
Thank you.
That's another interesting point. It's the idea that, oh, this guy says he's on steroids, and this guy's more impressive than him. That means he also must be on steroids. That's not how it works. Because a lot of dudes on gear, they have no idea what they're doing, and there is that bell curve genetically. And so, yeah, if you hop on gear in your first few years of training, you might have better expectations of what the gear might actually do for you long term. And if you don't know how to train or eat or do anything in the gym, really, you might be very underwhelmed with your results, even if you go enhanced. I've seen so many guys who are do you even lift, but on drugs. That doesn't mean that people who are actually impressive are all also on drugs. That is faulty logic. Another comment, I have a hard time believing this guy has never touched a performance-enhancing drug in his life, and he seems to get a little defensive when people question it, which furthermore gives credit to such accusations. See, it's this weird line where if you don't defend yourself at all, it means you're not natural, which I kind of get. If I see a lot of accusations or questions in the comment section, and the creator does not address them at all, yeah, you kind of assume like they're avoiding this for a reason, right? Especially if they're responding to other comments and ignoring those. Kudos to them for not deleting those comments, but still, that's kind of like admitting you're guilty by not addressing it. But if you do address it, if you do say, hey, I am lifetime natural, I am lifetime natty, blah, 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 if you do it too much, then it seems defensive, and then people think you're a fake natural. So you can defend yourself a little bit, but not too much. Like this video, obviously, is going to give them fuel for the fire, but this is not a defensive video. This is an offensive video attacking your dumb fucking comments. Another comment, juice with shitty genetics at best. Okay, I've gotten a lot of accusations of really good genetics, so getting a shitty one is kind of refreshing. Shitty physique and goofy face, double L. Yeah, I'll take that one on the goofy chin. Definitely not natty. That sort of muscular definition just isn't normal for humans. But I don't know, it could be a case of freak genetics, but that is highly unlikely. So yeah, going from shitty genetics to freak genetics, I just went the entire bell curve. What a roller coaster. That sort of muscular definition just isn't normal for humans. Not even like natural humans, just humans in general. So I did get pretty darn lean during my cut. I would say somewhere between 7 and 9% body fat. Some people said a little bit lower. One person was like, you didn't get to 10% body fat. Yeah, okay, bro. Yeah, the muscular definition is going to be mostly leanness, and naturals can absolutely get just as lean as enhanced lifters. It's just a lot harder to maintain it, which is why I am an advocate in almost every case of bulking and cutting, not just trying to maintain, particularly when you are lean. You can maintain maybe when you're more advanced and you're bulked up, but not when you are very shredded, particularly under 10% body fat. Another comment, this guy is my Jesus of the fitness world. If he juices, I would lose my faith in humanity. And someone said, your faith is an illusion, my friend, a big fake illusion. So, yeah, I would say you should not trust anyone. You've never met me. A few people have met me who've collabed and stuff. But, yeah, you don't know people on the internet. Oh, Mr. Beast, he's such a good guy. He does philanthropy. Oh, P. Diddy, he seems very wholesome. This kind of stuff where, yeah, a lot of actors in Hollywood, there's a lot of scummy shit going on. And I kind of understand why people are black-pilled and cynical and skeptical. But realize that it's not everyone. Not everyone in the fitness industry is a piece of shit. There are tons of good people. It's sad that a lot of the people who make it to the top do some really suspect and questionable things. But if you think it is everyone, I think that is a level of cynicism that is probably not useful. And yeah, you should protect yourself mentally and emotionally, and you should not invest too much into any one particular content creator. And so I would say, yeah, if I'm your Jesus, that's I don't want that kind of pressure. That's a little bit weird. I'm just a dude. Another comment thread talking about leanness, and yeah, when I'm bulked up, I don't get nearly as many fake natty accusations. But when lean, when shredded, yeah, that is when most of it occurs. In fact, I would say most of my accusations were from May of 2023, when I was under 10% body fat, particularly, again, under the right conditions. So when I cut down next, I think things should be even spicier. But when bulked up, yeah, things get a little bit quiet, and there are not quite as many natty or juice threads, unfortunately. Classic noob juicer build. Yeah, only 10 years in, and written books about it. You know, YouTube channel. Yeah, just a noob. classic. Arms and shoulders are easy to train and fast to recover. That is true, actually. Yeah, that doesn't mean... If they're fast to recover, how would juice help them more? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. People that don't know how to train and jump on the juice will develop this kind of physique almost always. So I'm not entirely sure about that, but I will say that my arms and shoulders are standout muscle groups, and that if you cut off my arms and gave me an arm transplant from 4, 5, 6 years ago of myself, yeah, a lot of the fake natural accusations would probably go. But guess what? I've trained my arms and delts with mostly isolations twice a week for 4 years straight. Who does that? Not very many people, and I think a lot of that explains the results that I've gotten and some of these threads as well. Another comment, he isn't natty anymore, but because of the sympathy factor he built around himself, many people, yeah, if you're a good person, like you're just trying to develop the sympathy factor, right? Keep in mind he literally has Verity as a second name. That is the name in my passport, that is my given name. So I don't know what to say there. It's a family name, it's been in their generations. The shoulder separations, the blowing up arms, especially the triceps. Yeah, if you have one standout muscle group, like obviously you're on SARM, selective arm receptor modulators. Okay, buddy. And the overall fullness after months of cutting should tell you what's up. So I spent 6 months, almost 7 months, to get to that level of conditioning. So the idea is you take longer on the diet, which actually retains and maintains your muscle mass. Whereas a lot of juicers, they take like 2 months to diet. They go really hard and they maintain all your muscle mass. If I had done that cut in 2 months, that would be a giant red flag. But it took half a year, and I knew it would take half a year because of the amount of weight that I had to lose and talking to other natural lifters and competitors. So I knew it would take a long time, and that is how you maintain your muscle mass and don't look super skinny. You do it the right way, you do it slowly. Comment, it's either Photoshop or juice. Those arms and delts are not natty in those pics. I haven't watched his YouTube in a while, but in the past he'd always look natural in his videos. But going by these pictures, there's no way. Again, leanness, lighting, all those things. Photoshop, that's an interesting one. I actually have had accusations of that before. Again, the triceps specifically, you might say, oh, well, what is that? Like, oh, there's no way that's... Oh, it's because I'm not flexing it and I'm letting that shit hang. And it is a very, very strong muscle group of mine. So there are some people where they are very blessed in a certain area, and I'm very blessed in the long head game. Striated temples, natty. I think there actually is something to that. You see people who are very, very enhanced, like top IFBB Open Pros, even when they get lean, they still have a giant fucking head. And it's just this huge bowling ball. And I think it's probably growth hormone, insulin, maybe the fact that they have just so much muscle mass, all that chewing, I don't know. Solomon Nelson actually did a really good video on that. I will link it below. But yeah, if you see a true natural, their face will look just like thin. I think that's a hallmark of actually being natural. And yeah, I had death face and things looked pretty gaunt near the end. 4 months ago, another natty or not thread. You can see here is the transformation of the cut from 2023. You can see totally bulked up, 225 or so pounds, November, December, January, February, March, April. And then this wasn't even including May when I got actually very, very, very lean. So that's the thing, what happens when you're cutting. The leaner you get, the more each pound that you lose makes a big visual difference. So if you lose 5 pounds when you're already very lean, it's a night and day difference. Whereas if you're bulked up 5 pounds, you could lose it in the first week of cutting just due from water weight, being lost. But it doesn't make a massive visual difference as it does when you are already near or below 10% body fat. One comment from Tofu Almond Man, not natty. So he's decided that I'm now not natural because I've, I guess, continued making progress. That's the thing. If you get to a certain level of muscularity, doesn't matter how you did it, doesn't matter your knowledge, doesn't matter your training, doesn't matter how long it took you, at a certain point, people will think that you are not natural. And again, this comes down to standards, and the standards on natty or juice are just piss poor. They are just appallingly low, and therefore you're going to get a lot of accusations there. Another comment, I don't have a strong opinion here, which is actually a good disclaimer, because a lot of people have extremely strong opinions about something that, like, I bet my life this guy is not natural. Alright, prepare to die, bitch. But this is someone who everyone says is natural, yet if anyone else looked exactly like this, you'd say this person wasn't natural. And the OP responded exactly, respect or just fear. Yeah, I'm striking fear into the hearts of other content creators to keep them silent on my natural status. Another comment, anyone looking like that claiming natty. And that's the thing, there's no evidence, there's no logic, it's just, you look like that? Not natural. How can anyone think someone who looks like this is natural? There's no evidence or anything, it's just feelings, emotions, and a really, really low standard. Another comment thread, I don't think he claims natty, with deservedly minus 11 with downvotes, because, yeah, I obviously claim natural. His entire online identity is about how he's natural. Well, a big part of it, and it's something I'm proud of. He does, and disses this sub when doing it like a true devoted fake natty would. Or a true devoted natural who thinks that this sub is full of black-pilled idiots who have really low standards and could actually do with a little bit more time in the gym and maybe a little bit less time online. How long do you think he's been using? For me, he took his physique to the next level in 2021, where he started to document his bulks and showed all kinds of gains despite already being an advanced natural lifter with years of experience. So I don't think I was actually advanced in 2021. I think I was intermediate. And this is where a lot of people, myself included, think they're more advanced than they actually are. And someone responded, unsure exactly, I haven't yet researched the timeline specifically. And this guy is a moderator of Natty or Juice. So, again, they have very strong opinions about these things while doing no research on the actual person. It's just picture, decision, and that is actually really sad and actually borderline irresponsible, especially if you're a moderator of this cesspool. Fast forward 2 months and we have yet another thread. Jeffrey Verity Schofield is the biggest fake natty, and if you think he's natural, you are delusional. So this is often a card they play. They say, oh, if you think this guy is natural, you are delusional, you are naive, you are gullible. We are the ones who know the real truth. We are the ones who are showing all the people lying to you. This is a sort of conspiratory theorist mindset, which I think it's okay to be skeptical, but again, the standards are super important here, where you think that anyone with a biceps vein, anyone over a certain amount of FFMI, anyone with a certain arm measurement, oh, they must not be natural because of the numbers or just based on how they look. Again, this photo, lighting, pump, angles, my gym knows what's going on. Like, they know how to have some decent downlighting at times. And so, yeah, these decisions are just based on emotion. Another one said, add bald Omni-Man to the list. Dude is 200 pounds, ripped at 5'11". No reality where this is natural. So yeah, I disagree. We just have different opinions and different standards, and a big part of that is because I've actually built myself up. A lot of the people with these standards, they are in their first 2, 3, 4 years of lifting. Maybe they're already plateauing, by the way, as I did around year 5, but that's because their lifting situation, their lifting knowledge, their lifting effort is usually in the fucking gutter. Comment, damn, must be nice being advanced natty and reading through all the fake natty accusations. No better compliment. So yes and no, it's sort of a mixed bag. It is a compliment, a massive compliment to your physique. Wow, these people think that there's no way that I could be natural when I actually am. Yeah, that feels good. But it's also people calling you a liar, not fun. And it's also kind of sad because they are so certain that you're at a level that is not possible for anyone to reach. And so in a lot of cases, they are limiting themselves as well, which is, yeah, it's kind of sad, it's kind of pathetic. And I do feel bad for a lot of the people on this subreddit because it is this echo chamber where the standards, if anything, seem to be getting lower. In a lot of other places, even on Reddit, the standards seem to be actually going up and people are realizing, oh, actually, this is possible naturally, this is for some people. But here, it seems to be this downward spiral, and it is kind of sad to see. Another comment, Lex Little is a test plus DECA physique. Listen, I don't know that much about drugs, but I do know that you're not going to be able to tell exactly what compounds that someone is on just by looking at their physique. Like, that's just, I've heard that before, like, that's a trend physique for sure. What? How do you know? Another comment, he's natural alright, he simply possesses 4 times the amount of Neanderthal genes average European does, which helps him gain mass quicker. I don't know. Certainly some people do have Neanderthal genes, and I haven't gotten a test, so I actually joked about getting a test once, but I haven't actually done it. And the OP said, must be his sprinter background. unlocked gains, new gains in 1 year. So I have an endurance background, not a sprinter one. That's sort of a big difference there. And I do think that has helped me overall, but I don't think that is like the deciding factor. And I've gained probably a couple pounds, maybe 3 pounds over the last year. So when another comment was like, oh, 9 years natural, 1 year peptides. First of all, how do you know what compound? It's very specific. Second of all, you're saying I built like 46 pounds naturally and then 2 pounds enhanced. Like it's ridiculous. And then the OP kind of calls himself out here. Define advanced, blah, 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 blah. I can define advanced, not you. And this guy says, I don't even want to be advanced. I just maintain my 2 years of muscles while staying lean so I can get more women. So again, a lot of these people, they don't have very high goals. Maybe they are very results focused, not process focused. And yeah, they're limiting themselves and trying to drag other people down to make themselves feel better. Oh, everyone has amazing genetics but me. Everyone is on steroids but me. It is literally anyone bigger than me is on steroids. Like, I know that's sort of said in jest. It's true a lot of the time. Another comment, I think people like Alex Leonidas, natural hypertrophy and basement bodybuilding, who take much pride in being natural, wouldn't support the guy if they think he's enhanced, and I take their opinions over random people's. That is a very good comment. And my opinion on some very, very, very elite natural bodybuilders has been changed by listening to people that I already respect in their circle. And so there are some guys who are bigger than me, by the way, who I used to think, oh, for sure natural, not natural. Like, look at his FFMI. Oh, look at his arm measurement, that kind of thing. But then other top naturals who I respected, they believed fairly strongly that they were actually natural. I thought, where is my belief that this guy is not natural coming from? Often it was a natty or not video. I'll do a whole video on why natty or not standards are absolutely in the gutter. That's going to be an interesting one. But often it just comes from black-pilled bullshit sites like this. And again, once you build yourself up, you start to realize what is possible for you and then for other people in comparison as well. But if you plateau as a lifetime intermediate, which a lot of these guys are doing, suddenly these top physiques seem so far out of reach that as almost like this defensive mechanism, you think, oh, genetics, oh, steroids, that kind of thing. And it's kind of sad. Then the OP said, I don't care how strong anyone is on any lift, they will never get bigger after 2 to 3 years because of natty limit. There you go. That says the entire mentality. Doesn't matter all the evidence of people making gains into year 5, year 8, year 10, year 12, even year 15 or 20. No, 2 to 3 years and you're done. And again, I don't know where these people learn this stupid bullshit, but it is absolutely limiting themselves. And then when they post it to echo chambers like this, it's limiting everyone involved. So, yeah, stupidity. And then he said, GVS has stayed on the same strength level for ages, but still gained muscle like crazy. That is absolutely not true. On the movements that I do, maybe not squat, bench, deadlift, 1 rep maxes, which is all strength people think about, especially these kinds of people, these minimalists, on the movements that I actually do, I have gotten much, much stronger for reps, and that is something that is necessary if you want to build muscle naturally. You have to get stronger. I've said it time and time again, but somehow people still don't get it. Another comment, the only lifters who ever use training logs are newbies and old guys with OCD. Wow. If that's your thing, that's your thing, but I find it rather redundant for the average non-competitive experienced lifter. That is absolute bullshit. Most advanced lifters that I talk to, they keep a training log. The vast majority. And it is absolutely important because, again, performance is vital. And so, yeah, these kinds of people are like, I don't keep a training log, that's for newbies. Well, there's a reason you're staying small, and it's your outdated and limiting beliefs. And then we have a thread a few days ago on my 10-year transformation, which I figured would be up there at some point. One of the comments was, that can't be natty because I've been training for 3 months and I don't look like that. And yeah, if you talk to a lot of these people, they have not been training for very long. You know, a few months, a year, maybe 2 years, and sometimes they're already hitting plateaus. You know, that's not your genetics. That's your lifestyle or your training or your efforts, something like that. hit a plateau from years 5 to 6, then made as good or better progress than years 2 to 4. No, I've actually ran the numbers, that's not true. From years 7 to 10, seems sus, what was his explanation? And someone responded, he adjusted his training, LOL, in all caps. And so for a lot of these people, they truly don't believe that training causes really very much difference. Like, oh, he changed his training and started growing, ha ha ha. Like, no, that is what I did. You're saying it sarcastically, but that's actually what I did. That and the lifestyle and less stress and having more focus and actually bulking and cutting instead of just maintaining 9, 10, 11% body fat. So yeah, it's not just, here are my genetics, and then no, that's the physique. No, like the process actually really matters. And this type of comment is really calling yourself out, my brother. You are really calling yourself out. And actually, if you committed to the process and you actually started to learn about training, maybe you wouldn't feel the need to post stupid comments like this. Another comment, he sells coaching and ebooks on his webpage. I think that's already a dead giveaway. So anyone who sells anything in the fitness industry has to be on juice. And there is a calculation here. Because I think if you really want to blow up your channel, or especially on TikTok, on Instagram, on these more visual platforms, yeah, I think juicing is probably the way to go because it is the best way to get visibility. But you're sacrificing your health. You're sacrificing your long-term health for clicks and for money. Like, there are way more other things that I could do to make money rather than juicing it up. So no, not everyone who is making a living in the fitness industry is automatically on juice. And I understand the skepticism, but this is just way, way over the top. I'm selling $20 or $30 ebooks here, okay? It's not like some people who are charging $100, $200 for their shitty ebooks. No, like, these are full books that are very, very reasonably priced. So if you think that's a dead giveaway, I think your cynicism has reached a level that is actually kind of pathetic. Another comment, I'm at 13 years. Originally, I read this as 13 years old, and I was like, damn, bro, like, that's a big fucking 13-year-old. But I think he means 13 years of training. Same height, natty, stats within 2 to 3 pounds, and less than an inch difference, I'd say he's natty. And that's the thing. When you build yourself up, and you are near some of these physiques, they look a lot more realistic and reasonable. You know, I was in 2019 thinking I was done and looking at these top-level physiques and thinking, man, they're pretty darn far away. Now I'm closer, and they actually, I understand it. I get it. They seem a lot more realistic and reasonable. He is a fake natty. The rule, if you make money from your physique online, most likely you are on some sort of PEDs. So the logic is that I've taken PEDs to get an impressive physique, to get visibility, to make money. You would think that I would post more often on Instagram, and not just the stories, which are more convenient. You'd think I would actually be posting multiple times a day to take advantage of this steroid-infused physique, and yet I'm only posting once every few months. Yeah, your logic doesn't really check out there. You think I would be on TikTok. You think I would post YouTube Shorts. You think I would post this more viral content, and you think I would charge more for my products and services, and yet I do not do those things. This guy trains insanely. He does like 16 sets for biceps alone. He does insane sets for muscles and keeps training and training how. Don't give me this trains hard. Yes, he does, and he doesn't stop. You are not a machine, you know. So I've actually toned things down in terms of volume on some muscle groups, and biceps are one of those. I would say that I probably do a little bit less than that, still quite a bit. But again, 2 arm days twice a week, and you can build up to it, right? So people think that, oh, naturals can't recover from training. If you look at the literature, a lot of with which I don't agree with entirely, but they still make decent gains on very, very, very high volumes. So like 30, 40, 50 sets per week. And I don't think all of these are to failure or super high quality sets, but most naturals can train more than they think they can. Another comment from people who can't do basic math, and it doesn't matter how transparent you are with the process, some people, they just don't know how to read. Another comment, if you look at the right picture and think that could be natty, you're either stupid or ignorant. And again, it's calling people who believe that anything impressive is attainable or achievable naturally is stupid, ignorant, gullible, naive, those types of things. And it's sad how many upvotes this style of comment actually get. One of the comments mentioned Sharif Saad. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. It said, "This guy is taking steroids. The delts and traps give it away. Sorry, I know this isn't what you want to hear." So I wasn't familiar with this guy. I went over to his page, and the sad thing was, in one of his more popular posts that went viral, the top comment was 13 years for that. So he's getting fake natty accusations, but then when his post goes viral, he gets people shitting on his physique, which is wild. And I think the gap between what is impressive and what people think is naturally attainable is narrowing. So now there's a very narrow window between what people think is naturally attainable and what people think is impressive. And I think in some places, specifically this subreddit, that window has closed to where it is non-existent. So it is impossible to have an impressive physique without people thinking you're on steroids, basically. And the entire vibe of this subreddit is like the one guy who his girlfriend cheated on him, and now he not only will not get into a relationship, but he goes around telling all his friends that their girlfriends are going to cheat on them and you can't trust any women. It's a really sad and pathetic mindset, and I get it, maybe you've been hurt by some people who actually are fake naturals, but that doesn't mean that anyone who looks impressive or even halfway decent is on the juice.
Everybody's on steroids.
The main issue here, besides that, is standards. If your standards were like 2, 3, 4 points of FMI higher, there would probably be no issues, and I think that on the whole, their assessments would be pretty darn accurate. But because the standards are so abysmally low, they're going to be wrong a hell of a lot of the time. So I will link all of these threads in the description. If you decide to wade into the cesspool, please be respectful. Realize that a lot of these people posting are not in a good place in life, and I do empathize with their situation. I do feel bad for them in a lot of cases. I know I've gone maybe a little bit hard on them at points in this video, but just be kind, be respectful if you choose to go into the fray. And you can check out my books if you want to support the channel. They contain all the information and all the knowledge that I have gained over the past few years. They've been very highly reviewed. I think you will really enjoy them. And if you're a black-pilled guy who is not seeing results, well, they might help. It's not any information that you can't find elsewhere, but it's all compiled and packed into one place, so you might find that useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.